Hello and welcome to another episode of EdgeCraft. I'm your host Matt, and it is great to see you today. So today we are going to finish our football field for the Super Bowl 2019, Patriots versus the Rams. So we have a few things that we need to do. The first thing is I want to put in the little yard marks along the sides of the field and some in the middle as well. So I got a bunch of white concrete, and we're going to do that. And then we're going to work on the end zones a bit and the field goal posts, and we should be all done. So I will be back in just a second. I'm going to do some marks, and we can do the end zones together. I'll see you in just a moment. And there we go. That is looking so much better. I put the little marks across the ends. I put some down the middle. It's looking good. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to do the end zones. So I want to make this the Patriots end zone, and I want to make that the Rams. So we're going to go into a super fast mode while I do this, but we're going to make this white letters saying Patriots and the rest blue. Now I know it's not going to be exactly in their font, and I know it's not going to have their logo on it, but it'll look okay. So it's going to say Patriots in white with blue all around it, and I've got a whole bunch of blue and yellow and stuff here, and a little bit of white. I think I've got some more in one of these shulker boxes. But anyway, we're going to spell out Patriots, and then we're going to spell out Rams over there. So let's get started with the super fast mode. Here we go. Okay, so for today's super fast time mode, we're going to continue 1 Samuel in chapter 18. Now, if you remember from the last episode, David has just killed Goliath, and he's just amazed everybody. And so in verse 1 of chapter 18, we start picking up the story right after David finishes talking to Saul. All right, so let's get going. Verse 1. After David had finished talking with Saul, Jonathan became one in spirit with David, and he loved him as himself. From that day, Saul kept David with him and did not let him return home to his family. And Jonathan made a covenant with David because he loved him as himself. Jonathan took off the robe he was wearing and gave it to David, along with his tunic, and even his sword, his bow, and his belt. Alright, so we're going to stop here for just a second and explain what's going on. Jonathan, if you remember, is Saul's son. Well, everyone's impressed with David, so much so that Saul's like, you're sticking with me. I'm basically adopting you as a son. And Saul's real son, Jonathan, loves David so much that they become best friends. When it says Jonathan loves David as himself, it means that Jonathan and David have a special friendship. They become best friends for life. And so Jonathan gives him his robe, which is a sign that, you and me forever, best friends. And then he even gives him his sword and his bow and his belt, which is also another sign of, hey, I'll follow you anywhere, battle, whatever. So, verse 5. Whatever mission Saul sent him on, David was so successful that Saul gave him a high rank in the army. This pleased all the troops and Saul's officers as well. Okay, so now we see that this little boy David is now being sent off on missions. And every time Saul sends him on a mission, like combat, David wins. So Saul promotes him, and now he's like a really high rank in the army. Verse 6. When the men were returning home after David had killed the Philistine, the women came out from all the towns of Israel to meet King Saul with singing and dancing and joyful songs, and with timbrels and lyres. As they danced, they sang. All right, now I want you to pay close attention to this song because this is going to cause trouble later. But basically, they're talking about after David killed the Goliath and they were returning from the battle, all the women in town started singing this song. Saul has slain his thousands, and David his tens of thousands. Now, if you listen to that, it's just a real short little song, but it says that Saul has killed thousands, while David has killed tens of thousands. Saul doesn't like this, because even though he loves David, he doesn't like that David is being considered better than he is. This is a problem for Saul. So verse 8. Saul was very angry. This refrain displeased him greatly. They have credited David with tens of thousands, he thought, but me with only thousands. What more can he get but the kingdom?" And from that time on, Saul kept a close eye on David. All right, so you can see the jealousy starting. Verse 10. The next day, an evil spirit from God came forcefully on Saul. He was prophesying in his house while David was playing the lyre, as he usually did. Saul had a spear in his hand, and he hurled it, saying to himself, "I'll pin David to the wall." But David eluded him twice. Okay, so get this. It's the very next day after David killed Goliath. The next day. David's hanging out, playing his lyre with Saul. Saul's got an evil spirit on him. And Saul thinks to himself, "I'm going to kill David. I'm going to kill him." Grabs a spear, throws it at him, misses. David dodges out of the way. Saul goes and gets the spear, throws it at David again, misses again. This is just crazy. Verse 12. Saul was afraid of David because the Lord was with David, but had departed from Saul. So he sent David away from him and gave him command over 1,000 men. And David led the troops in their campaigns. In everything he did, he had great success, because the Lord was with him. When Saul saw how successful he was afraid of him. But all Israel and Judah loved David, because he led them in their campaigns. Saul said to David, "Here is my older daughter, Merab. I will give her to you in marriage. Only serve me bravely and fight the battles of the Lord." For Saul said to himself, "I will not raise a hand against him. Let the Philistines do that." All right, so what's going on here is Saul's basically saying to David, "Okay, a deal's a deal. You get to marry my daughter. But, you're going to be kind of in charge of my armies. Why don't you go out to battle and kill a bunch of these Philistines?" And he's thinking, well, David's just going to die in battle and I won't have to worry about him anymore. Verse 18. But David said to Saul, "Who am I, and what is my family or my clan in Israel, that I should become the king's son-in-law?" So now, David's saying, listen, I don't really want to marry your daughter. I don't need to become your son-in-law. You've already blessed me. You've given me a high rank. I'm good. I'm okay. Verse 19. So when the time came for Merab, Saul's daughter, to be given to David, she was given in marriage to Adriel of Meloha. So now we see Saul, accepts it, gives his daughter to someone else. Verse 20. Now Saul's daughter Michal was in love with David, and when they told Saul about it, he was pleased. "I will give her to him," he thought, "so that she may be a snare to him, and so that the hand of the Philistines may be against him." So Saul said to David, "Now you have a second opportunity to become my son-in-law." This is very strange. You can tell just by Saul's actions here and what he's saying that he doesn't even think his daughter Michal is a good person. He knows that she's wicked. He knows that she's nasty and not a nice person, but he also knows that she's in love with David. So he thinks, good, I'll marry her to David, and she'll screw with his head, mess him up, and end up getting him killed. And so he wants to marry his daughter that he doesn't like to David just so that he'll end up dying. This man is crazy. He's not a good person. He's not good. All right. Verse 22. Then Saul ordered his attendants, "Speak to David privately and say, 'Look, the king likes you and his attendants all love you. Now become his son-in-law.'" They repeated these words to David, but David said, "Do you think it is a small matter to become the king's son-in-law? I am only a poor man and little known." So David's like, "Listen, I just can't do it. I don't want to become the king's son-in-law. It's just not okay." Verse 24. When Saul's servants told him what David had said, Saul replied, "Say to David, the king wants no price for the bride than 100 Philistine deaths to take revenge on his enemies." Saul's plan was to have David fall by the hands of the Philistines. So here's what it's saying. Saul says, "All right, David, you don't feel like you earned the right to be my son-in-law? Go earn it. Go kill 100 Philistines, and then you can have my daughter." So when the attendants told David these things, He was pleased to become the king's son-in-law. So, before the allotted time elapsed, David took his men with him, went out, and killed 200 Philistines. They counted out the number of deaths to the king so that David might become the king's son-in-law. Saul gave him his daughter Michal in marriage. When Saul realized that the Lord was with David and that his daughter Michal loved David, Saul became still more afraid of him, and he remained his enemy the rest of his days. The Philistine commanders continued to go out to battle, and as often as they did, David met with more success than the rest of Saul's officers, and his name became well known. All right, this story is starting to take a turn, and Saul is not behaving well. We'll find out what happens with David and Saul in the next episode. But for that now, let's go back to our football field. Okay, so obviously I had to readjust that a little bit because it was a little off-centered. But the Rams turned out great. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. The last thing to do is to create some goalposts here, and yeah, I want to get a little bit of dirt out. I got a bunch already, but let's get a bit more, and we're gonna build up the back of this just a tiny bit more. That way, I can put the goalpost in, and it'll look okay. So I'm going to fill this in back here. I'm going to do the same on the other side, and I will be back with you once I've turned this concrete powder into concrete, and we are ready to make some goalposts. See you in a minute. Okay, so I am back, and I realized that I wasn't going to have enough, so I made a little bit of extra just to make sure. But I did the count on this, and I want to make sure this is right in the center. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These two are exactly in the middle. So I can put this right here, and it's supposed to be 10 high. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait, that's 6, right? Oh no, I lost count. All right, let's try this again. All right, so we got 1, 2. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, okay. 7, 8, 7, 8, 9, 10. 9, 10. Okay, so that is the beginning of the field goal. Now I need to go out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, both ways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Beautiful. And then I have to go up 20, but I can count this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And this is the correct height of one of these field goals. Now to me, that seems very high, but I don't know. We'll take a look at it when we get done. All right, let me do this real quick. 1. All right, and there is a field goal, and it looks okay. Clouds, I think, are messing with me a little bit. It kind of looks like it's bigger on this side than it is on that side. Kind of want to double check that real quick. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Let's see. It should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So right there. Yeah, we're good. We're good. Now we're here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so that is a real to-scale field goal for this football field. Let's do one more, and I'll just do a super fast time mode real quick while I put that together. Well then, that was interesting. Trying to go to the highest place in my world so I could see my football field, and my elytra just stopped working. I wonder if it ran out of durability and it broke. I don't know, but I definitely fell to my death. There's my elytra. Nope, it's still got lots of durability left on it. Okay, that's unfortunate. Don't really love dying, but okay. Let me just throw this stuff back on, and we can check out that that view. I'll be back with you in a second. Okay, so I'm back. I'm standing on top of my creeper farm, basically, and I realized that when I look directly at it, I can't actually see the field. But when I turn sideways, I can. So yeah, it's looking pretty awesome, by the way. I mean, check that out. I think that's awesome. Now I'm gonna try jumping. Hopefully my elytra decides to work. Okay, good, it's working. I'm gonna land on top of this dome. This I think gives me a better view. A little bit closer. Yeah, that's looking fantastic. All right, well, that's going to be it for today's episode. A little bit of a rough end there with the death, but hey, that's okay. We got it taken care of. But happy Super Bowl, everyone. I hope you enjoy your day, and yeah, let's I don't know, let's have some fun. All right, have a good day. God bless. Bye.